Well, Amanda...
Okay, Stargate speak. I have to ask you, how long did it take you to learn Stargate speak?
He's got cracked ribs, more bruises than I can count, and a concussion that resulted in neuropraxis.
I was a little Stargate illiterate when we started, so I didn't understand anything. And they have a great big Bible of sorts, this thick, of
fan-made, right?
15 seasons of Stargate to catch up on.
Means.
And the history, the mythology of it.
Did they make you guys read it?
No.
Elyse, if you want this part, you have to memorize the Bible.
No, you know, I think it's funny because
we learn as we go.
As great as the mythology is and as thorough as it is, Brad and Robert have such a great attitude about it. It's storytelling. Mm-hmm. They're developing characters and they're telling a story. Mm-hmm. It just so happens to be Stargate.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, when you first signed on to do the show, were you a sci-fi buff, or you knew?
I liked sci-fi, but I wouldn't say I was a huge sci-fi fan. My standard answer is always I was more of a Little House on the Prairie kind of girl.
Aww,
has being on the show changed that for you?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, because it's a great way to tell stories
in a fantastical way.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's because you can get away with so much more.
Yes.
And because, let's face it, sci-fi has been very good to me. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Not
a big
only
fan.
that, but the roles for women in sci-fi are also just, I mean, I think that they sort of set a precedent for seeing more interesting, intelligent, versatile women.
That's not up to you.
We'll see. Brad and Robert
embraced
right
that.
from the beginning.
Yeah.
Your character, Carter, was so strong.
Let's get him out of there.
And one of the leaders, and smart, and
extremely ridiculously good looking.
There's nothing sexy about combat.
Well, no, that's interesting because for so long you were the only female on Stargate, and here we are. We've got 3, and then we've got a supporting cast of females as well.
I envy that because, just sitting in your trailer before we came out here, just that,
the girlfriend.
Yeah, like a girl, I got your back.
Sort of sometimes the only one of the boys.
Yeah, and it smelled like farts.
It does on our show anyway, believe me.
That doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away.
Michael, Chris,
it does not go away.
beans again. Yeah, it's just not as pleasant smelling.
That's funny.
It was smelly. Yeah, that's really funny.
You must be desperate indeed.
Desperate was last month. This month means breathing the same air as people like you.
So, Amanda, how did you find that? This is something that kind of interests me, and we talked a little bit about this at Comic-Con. The transition from being the lead female on Stargate for several years and then transitioning to wearing your producer hat and starring in a show.
As much as I hate to use this terminology, we are at war.
Was it something you always wanted to do? And how do you balance it?
When I started out as an actress, I never thought of myself as becoming a producer. It's not like I never saw a career.
But it was a natural transition.
But it was such a natural transition with Martin and Damien, and I saw myself directing. But I didn't really know, and I didn't know what producers did. I mean, not to offend any producers, but I just didn't understand what they did.
They do this a lot now.
Yeah, and a lot of this. But it was a natural, transition once I left Stargate, went to Sanctuary, and we started to develop the show. The thing that I now have a huge amount of respect for the amount of questions producers get asked.
Really?
Really dumb questions. So now, as an actor, I go.
Do you remember? Because
from
that's
actors.
what's so amazing with Brad
from everybody,
and Robert, what they remember. It's like those football players, or
they
remember
the playbook.
Their playbook. They remember every moment of some game that they've done, even though they've played hundreds of games. And that's like Brad.
Totally.
If people ask me, how was that episode? That I would be like, was that the first year?
That was 7 months ago.
I don't know.
But they remember it. I'm not as good at that, but I am better at it with Sanctuary just because you go through the process, right?
Yeah, right.
From beginning to end.
And you prep the whole show, and then you're in post, I'm in post-production right now on the show, so we're mixing and color correcting and editing. And so I see the show 15, 20 times before it actually makes it to air. So
does that make it so that you kind of, in a way, disconnect from it, having seen it so many times? Like, is it hard
in a way, yeah.
Kind of look
You
at
know,
it
the hardest
as,
part is as an actor watching yourself.
I was going to say, did you used to, or because now that you have to? Yeah, I can't watch. I don't like.
And I still have a hard time watching.
Neither do.
No, because you know what? You become too self-aware. Then you stop becoming an actor, and you become
but there
like.
are some actors
you get out of the moment
who cannot wait to get their dailies that night.
I think
or they watch the monitor.
No, I can't do it.
Can you do that playback? I just want to see.
You know what? I think that there's a nice balance to it. I think in some ways, there's certain things you can learn from watching yourself as long as you go to it from that perspective. As I want to learn my habits, I want to learn the things
Brad
I work
will
on.
take actors into the editing suite, which is so awesome, and he'll say, "This is why we had to edit the scene this way, and it's to save you. This is what you did wrong in this scene, or this is what you did right in the scene." But the editing,
we haven't gotten that.
We had to edit. No, but it's just the best thing an actor can do is go into an editing suite.
Fun to do, actually.
As opposed, because then it doesn't so much become about, oh, I hate my my profile there, or that
my voice, or
Then it just sort of becomes, now you become more savvy to how the camera actually works.
I think it's interesting too to just be reminded that all these other elements are going to heighten the performance, the music, the shot, the lighting.
Yes.
So you forget sometimes, like, you don't need to necessarily act that moment because the music is going to tell that story for you.
We used to say that a lot on Stargate. Musical, save this scene.
Save this scene.
Yeah, what's the thing? Memorize it.
And a lot of audience don't know that music.
Wait till you see the business.
Right, they add so much.
They don't know how much it adds.
Well, I'll tell you one a funny story. You know, I mean, it's sci-fi related, but I read George Lucas's bio. And when he had edited Star Wars, before John Williams put his soundtrack to it, you know, he showed it to like Steven Spielberg, all his buddies, and the reaction they had when they saw his edited version of Star Wars without the music was like, "Oh man, good luck. You know, sorry, buddy."
Wow.
Oof.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
And then after John Williams' music, it changed.
Ta-da.
Right.
You know, I mean, maybe he fixed a few things too, but ultimately, that's how much music and sound can contribute.
Absolutely.
To a show. Not to say that George
To a
Lucas'
visual.
Star Wars isn't brilliant and fantastic.
As it were, yeah.
Yes.
But it does make a huge difference.
It makes a huge
Well, it's
impact.
complete.
Story in a way that sometimes words can't.
I'm a very cautious person, and I tend to think things